Welcome to part 3 of the virtual assistant series where I help you start earning online as a virtual assistant without any kind of experience. If this is your first time seeing this video, I would suggest watching part 1 and 2 because today's video would make a lot more sense if you start there. But if you're someone who knows what a virtual assistant is and you did start, but you're struggling to land clients, feel free to continue watching this video because today's video is all about how to get those virtual assistant clients. Let's not waste time and get right into it. Number 1, Facebook groups. This is my personal favorite and highly effective amongst all my students. Little pro tip here when you are joining Facebook groups to make sure these Facebook groups are still related to your niche. For example, when I first started, I was a general virtual assistant for wedding photographers. So when I joined Facebook groups, I made sure it was a Facebook group with wedding photographers in it. You can even go local and join Facebook groups that have your local industry people. So for me, since I'm from Canada, I could have searched Canadian wedding photographers. I could have even go more local and said a very specific province or city like Toronto wedding photographers. Literally, you can get as specific as you want. And it also gives you a lot more options as well when it comes to joining these Facebook groups to finding clients. Once you're inside these Facebook groups, I'm going to share a few ways how to actually get these clients. For one, I'm going to share my first Facebook group success story. One of the groups I joined was Utah Wedding Photographers. I got invited. Another tip here is to make sure it's a private Facebook group that you're joining because I believe public groups are just a lot more spammier and there's a higher risk of random people that aren't really looking for virtual assistants just posting and they're scams, right? And you want to make sure that you don't get scammed. Anyways, when I joined that Facebook group, every single day there were wedding photographers that were sharing their project, their photos, and engaging with one another. When I was also engaging with them, I noticed that they would ask questions like, how are you guys managing your emails? How are you guys growing your social media accounts? And they were asking for tips here. And that's when I was like, you know what? I can provide these tips to them. Even though I'm not a photographer, I'm in this Facebook group. I do exactly this. I help photographers with exactly what they're asking they need support and help with. So I started engaging with them and started providing them tips. And I also mentioned that I'm a virtual assistant that helps clients who are wedding photographers for these exact services. And that's literally how I landed my first client by just helping and seeing people ask for help and answering them that, hey, I'm here to help. The goal here is to be active. Don't just join and ghost. Like you want to be super active, especially in the very beginning when you're building your clientele. You want to be in these Facebook groups every single day. Second way is when you see a straight up person asking for a virtual assistant. There's so many, especially nowadays, people asking for virtual assistants in these Facebook groups because they want to know other people in their niche. So for example, again, sticking with the same example, wedding photographers would just ask other wedding photographers who have hired virtual assistants and would probably ask them if they know any. That is your golden opportunity to slide in and share your portfolio or basically just give yourself a shout out saying, hey, I'm a virtual assistant for wedding photographers. I would love to connect with you to talk more about what you're looking for support because they clearly said they're looking for a virtual assistant and you can quickly get on a Zoom call. This is where I would suggest making sure you do add a Zoom call because it builds that trust and legitimacy, which a lot of people need. You're not just saying, hey, hire me. You're saying, let's get on a call and see if we could be a right fit. More importantly, if I can help you. You're putting yourself out there, but also as an expert. That is what a lot of people are attracted to. And that will also differentiate you from everyone else who's just copying and pasting their portfolio and resumes and not taking the next step to say, hey, let's get on a Zoom call and chat more about this. Third way, what a lot of my students are doing is when they join Facebook groups, they see if that group allows to promote and market yourself. So the first thing they do is introducing themselves as a virtual assistant, attach their portfolio saying, if somebody is looking for a virtual assistant, I would love to chat with you and see if we could work together. The amount of DMs and attraction my students saw day one inside Facebook groups by just one post crazy and it blows my mind. So these are the top ways you could actually get clients in these Facebook groups. Now moving on to the second way of getting clients is freelancing platforms like Upwork and Fiverr. I personally don't have a success story to share here because I never applied through any of these websites just because I just never needed to. I was already seeing success in Facebook groups, so I never really looked elsewhere, but that does not mean my students who I've trained haven't seen success. Now, one thing to keep in mind when you are applying to job postings on Upwork and Fiverr, just to keep in mind, there's competition, right? It's so obvious that there's higher competition on platforms like Upwork and Fiverr compared to joining Facebook groups. So a few tips here to make sure you put time and effort into setting up your portfolio. The best thing to do here is type in a similar role. So if you're a general virtual assistant, type in general virtual assistant and look at other people in that role and how do they have their profile page set up. You can look at what they have attached, the work they have attached, and what they're highlighting. I'm not saying to go ahead and copy them, but as a beginner, getting inspiration doesn't hurt. Other thing here is to make sure and do your due diligence when it comes to getting scammed. Just because these job postings are on Upwork and Fiverr, even LinkedIn, which is another great platform to find clients, does not mean they're legit jobs, unfortunately, which sucks. But make sure that you are taking extra precautions when it comes to this. There's tons of YouTube videos that talk about this and go over how to differentiate if a job is a scam or not. Do watch those videos because you want to make sure you're not getting scammed. Obviously, LinkedIn is very, very similar to Upwork and Fiverr. Type in your job role, virtual assistant, and see what comes up and go from there, right? It's pretty much like you're applying for that job and there is competition because there's probably a lot of other virtual assistants who are also applying for that job. So what you could do here is again, put an effort into your resume and portfolio to stand out. Moving on to the third way, my personal favorite. I've seen success in this way the most. This is the reason why I did not even look for clients on freelancing apps like Upwork and Fiverr, LinkedIn, even Facebook groups. Facebook groups was my second way, but my first way was attraction marketing. This is when you open up a social media page. I mainly used Instagram in the very beginning, eventually did move on to TikTok. So if you want to market your business on social media platforms, the more the merrier. I was completely booked out by focusing just on Instagram. Now, attraction marketing and using social media to market your business, this is very similar to what you already see a lot of people doing. They create content and talk about what they have to offer and what they're selling. For example, candle makers that you see on TikTok, they're posting content about making the candle, and at the end, they say that this is now on their website to buy. That is them making content using social media to promote that candle. That is literally what you're going to be doing for your virtual assistant business. You're going to be using social media to market your services, your packages. Now, I know a lot of people get confused because there's literally no product that we're marketing. So I know people are like, well, what am I supposed to showcase? What am I showing people to buy? Because there's no product. You are the product. You are going to be the face of your virtual assistant business because people are going to hire you. So you are your product and you are basically going to talk about what you have to offer, who you help, and what services, what packages you have available, and basically what are your credentials. You could talk about your experience, your story, and basically just build a personal connection. Give people a reason to get to know you, the person, as their virtual assistant. In order to sell anything online, you have to build a personal brand, especially now in 2025, people buy from people. So if you want to use social media to get clients, you also have to put yourself out there as the product, as the person, as the face of the brand. Your number one goal here is to get as visible as possible. Create content every single day. I landed my first client on Instagram in just 2 weeks. She slid into my DM to be her virtual assistant. This happened because I was posting every single day, talking about me being a virtual assistant, who I help, what I can do for them. Marketing my packages. I would just post my packages on a carousel post that I created on Canva and just say, hey, these are the packages I have to offer. And that's literally what creating content as a virtual assistant is. Now, if you're still confused on what to post, the type of content, and how to basically market yourself and your business on social media, this is what I'm going to be covering inside my next YouTube video. I will be talking a lot more about the type of content to post as a virtual assistant, how to basically write your hooks to stand out, and basically how to write captions that gets people to want to hire you, because in social media, a lot of the people will look at your content before ever reaching out and messaging you. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. So I will see you next week.